Breathing the Life podcast, live from the, well, it's not really live, but we're taping this at the Stanford campus. Bruce Cryer is joining us today. We have Donna Martin. Come on. Luis Guerra. And yeah, we're really excited about this episode because we get to discuss certain things with Bruce, but really we're going to focus on a couple of really important parts of this discussion about our heart expansion and about how we can start to access that. And we don't want to lose you, the listener, the viewer, so we want to make sure that people can follow this. I think I'm setting this up correctly. Let's see what Donna thinks.
Thank you so much, Bruce, for being here with us, and we love the setting. Thank you for the suggestion. We're out in the sun. There's maybe you know about this too. Is there other benefits of the sunlight coming through with the leaves?
Well, all the famous things of vitamin D, just because of what sunlight does to us.
Yeah.
But what I often feel about and try to remind people about is that we are sitting in intelligent systems. These trees, the grass, are communicating with each other. They have sensory systems, 10 more than humans have. Trees.
Wow.
All these ways they can sense what's needed. And so we're being bathed in the energy, the life energy, as we all know from being amongst things that are living. That is healing just in of itself. But there's a level of intelligence that's behind what's going on that I just find fascinating. So we're sitting in an intelligent environment called nature.
Yeah, I love that because I have heard that there are many benefits from sitting under the tree because a little sunlight that comes through. So not only that you get the vitamin D, you're also getting like the oxygen and the benefits from the tree. So it's multiply. I would imagine. Bruce is known for his heart coherence courses, right? And you've done a lot of things behind understanding and studying of heart coherence.
That we all understand that. There's now, well, what that even means, I would say, attribute to you and your work. And, so if you, what were you going to say? Sorry, I was just like, but it's profound, when you think about it.
Well, there's a couple of things that I wanted to kind of touch on is, where you've been and how you ended up in HeartMath, and then how that led you through the multiple years that you were with HeartMath, and then all the challenges with your health and how you came back from that. Because to me, those are like the superpowers that we all have, right? And the intent behind our podcast is to remind our audience and friends and families that how amazing we are, and by hearing stories such as yours, we felt really compelled to speak to you and to understand, were there moments where how did you come back from oh my gosh, this is not going well, to everything's going to be all right?
Yeah. Well, let's start at the beginning, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of heart coherence, which is a term a lot of people have heard these days, thanks to people like Dr. Joe Dispenza, who talks about it all the time as one of the key elements that allows us to live better, more healthfully, greater longevity, etc. And so I was part of an organization, as you guys know, called HeartMath Institute, which started 34, almost 35 years ago now. And we were the ones who actually named a state. It's talked about a lot as flow state. But we named it coherent because we discovered that whenever any human being is feeling an emotion that's positive, like joy or compassion or peacefulness, love, anything like that, that creates what's called coherence in how the heart is actually beating. And why that matters is that when we're upset, stressed out, worried, anxious, afraid, any of those kind of garden variety, least favorite bad feelings, we are in an incoherent pattern. So what happens is our heart literally starts beating kind of in a chaotic way, kind of like an earthquake. Apropos, we're here in California. But when we're in a more loving, a more peaceful, or more appreciative state, the patterns that were chaotic because we were stressed are now this beautiful sine wave. And so we said, based on what physics thinks of as coherence versus incoherence, what humans are capable of is this coherent pattern which happens spontaneously when we're feeling great. When somebody gives you a genuine compliment and you feel like, wow, that feels amazing, thank you. Well, if we'd been measuring your heart right then, it would have gone into this smooth rhythm, because positive emotion is how our body wants to function. Our heart functions better, our brain functions better. I mean, a simple example to kind of prove that point is, people understand if you're really frustrated about something or rushing, we sometimes make a very short-sighted decision. And later on we think, what was I thinking? Oh, I wasn't actually thinking. I was just reacting. Or you literally say something that you can't unhear, or you can't unsay.
Right.
Like you said that thing, and that poor partner of yours or your colleague or whoever it is now got to live with that.
Yeah.
And we know that happens when we're upset. We're more likely to say something we will regret. And even physical coordination stuff. You know, when you're rushing around, that's when you hit your knee on the table. Oh, no. You know, when you're rushing. So we just kind of came in the early 90s and said, we want to study this, because our belief was that a life lived from the heart, when we can live from the heart, from the intelligence of the heart, which we believed was a fact, that the heart is actually intelligent, just like nature is intelligent, just like the cells of our skin are intelligent. We believe the heart was intelligent. So we felt like if we could prove through science, kind of mainstream science, that the heart is so much more than a pump, and the heart can be a guide for us, like we say, you're a parent, I'm a parent. At some point, all of us probably said to one of our kids, just go out there and play with your heart.
Yeah.
Or just when you're doing your recital, just sing from your heart, just dance with your heart, you'll be fine. So who taught us to say that? Our parents. Why did they think that? Because in culture we believe that the heart is our guide. But in Western science for the last 150 years or so, that was kind of thrown out. Like, no, the heart's just a pump. It's an amazing pump, but it's just a pump. Brain's doing everything. Little by little, research came along and realized the brain is amazing, more than we even know, but it's actually aggregating information from all over the body, especially the heart. The heart's actually processing all kinds of information and feeding it all the time to the brain. So you think, okay, wait a minute. So I thought, the way I was trained a long time ago, the brain's the big computer telling the body what to do.
Right.
Nope. The brain is an incredible computer, and there's so much more to learn that we haven't learned yet. But it's getting information. There's a massive brain in the gut called the enteric brain, 100 million neurons that process information locally and feed that information up here. There's a brain in the heart, tens of thousands of neurons processing information right here, feeding that information up to the brain. So the model is like, wait a minute, this sounds completely upside down.
Yeah.
And yes, as so many things in life, when we really look deeper, it turns upside down our old thoughts. But kind of I think the essence for anybody listening to this and watching this is that when we are in a coherent state, life works better. If you're sitting listening to a podcast and thinking, wow, that was so coherent, that was just so well put together, so well expressed, that's a sign of, oh, things are aligned, it was clear, it all kind of made logical sense. We intuitively want our lives that way. And when they're not, when there's something obvious not working, like money's really not working, or health is really out of whack, or whatever, doesn't mean we're bad, it just means some alignment is needed. So we came along 35 years ago and said, let's study the human system, because if we're not aligned internally, good luck having a life that can sustainably work. You can work for a while, you could have the big career for a while, and then it could crash or whatever. So that's a little bit about the world of coherence in the heart. And so I got involved at the very beginning of HeartMath 35 years ago, and had a significant role in helping design programs and teach them all over the world, and see in my own life experience just how valuable it was to really try to actually live from my heart, realizing there was a lot of scientific evidence why that is a true statement, not just a sweet poet's thought. Live from your heart. You'll be elegant and gracious in all ways. Yes, actually, you probably will. But it's beyond just sweet.
Because eventually that's where your life will lead. How does one know if we're living with our heart versus our brain, or like how do we know that we're aligned?
Right. Well, to me, life is so fluid. Everything is moving. Everything
Yeah.
is in constant motion. So it's not like you're just coherent and then you never have to worry about it again. Because life,
Why not?
Life will, because the tricksters upstairs are saying you're going to have to work for this a little bit. You're going to have to develop yourself. You've been given an incredible gift, like the fact that we're actually even just talking,
Yeah.
and that you're in your body of consciousness and you can perceive from you, I can perceive from me, you can perceive from you. That in itself is
Really wild,
freaking
yeah.
miraculous.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
that's even a thing. Like we just assume, well, of course. Do you remember when you weren't this way? No, of course. You only remember now that you are. So just the fact that we can be conscious and communicate is pretty wild. But say your question again.
How would one know
The
if
heart or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I was trying to say, it is this fluid thing. So it's not like it's all one or the other. It's usually a blend. And to me, it's a process of, number one, I think a lot of people intuitively believe their heart is smart, or is a source of intuition that they don't listen to often enough, or is a source of courage. So a lot of people kind of believe that, but they also have been told, well, but don't bring it to work. It's going to mess up your decision making if you make decisions with your heart, because your heart's soft and weak. And like, no, actually, name another organ in your body that has a rhythm.
Yeah.
Name another organ in your body that has an electrical and a magnetic system. Name another. I mean, it's like incredibly powerful and important. And so there's a lot to be said for just try to learn to live more from your heart. So, but it's a refining process. It's kind of like I'm a singer. And I mean, I can hear when a tone is in key or not, but I'm always trying to improve the tone, improve how flexible my voice is. So life presents challenges. So with your heart and your head, we need both. So it's not a matter of living only from the heart with no head.
Right.
Good luck driving a car. Good luck getting, I mean,
I'm
we have
very
GPS.
emotional.
So it's not about one or the other. It's a matter of keeping them in balance. And we meaning HeartMath, has always talked about a joint venture between the head and the heart. You have to have a head. People watching this that run businesses or run families or are single parents or have health issues, you got to have a head that's doing some hard work day by day to get through. But if you've only got a head, life is not right.
God,
It's empty.
I feel like there's so much to unpack just right there, but I want to go back to one thing. You started off on Broadway. You ended up in HeartMath. Like, how did that happen? And maybe talk a little about a bit about that before we go into the heart and mind connection, because I really do. I think that was a great way you just framed. It's a joint venture. I love that. So I definitely want to go back to that. But
yeah, well, I had this amazing privilege, which was from my senior year in high school to a couple years later, I discovered I could sing, discovered I maybe could dance, and found myself literally two and a half years after I started with the lead role in the longest running musical in the world, which was called The Fantastics in New York City. And how did I get here? I'm 19 years old and I'm in the longest running musical in the world. And 2.5 years ago, I didn't even want to be a singer, let alone dancer. So how did this all happen?
That.
So God kept me in suspense. I had no idea growing up that I even wanted to be on stage, let alone could.
Yeah.
And so when somebody else discovered maybe I could sing, it was like, wow, really? Okay, well I can sing, okay, but I'm not good on stage. It's two different things, right? You gotta have a nice voice and be a terrible actor. So I worked at it, and luckily went to an amazing school called the Oberlin Conservatory, where there was everything I could dream of in terms of learning, from improv to fire eating to carnival technique to Shakespeare to opera to choreographing dances. I mean, there was a world of creativity open that I took advantage of. And so that informed my desire to be in that world, and found I did have some talent, and had a great time for about 5 years professionally. But at a certain point, the other parts of my life, which had been more related to psychology and wellness and holistic health and spirituality, I was I was in my mid-teens when I started having kind of an awakening through reading different authors. Some were European authors, some were Hindu yogi type authors, that there's a whole nother dimension to life that you haven't explored yet, dude.
I love that.
You're just kind of getting started, and there's a whole nother world waiting for you. And little by little, even as I was successful in New York, I found in my downtime, I wasn't thinking about how good an actor I could become. I was reading more books about how the mind works, how the heart works, all these sorts of things. And that became a bigger interest finally than being on stage. And my girlfriend, who was a very successful actress in her own right in New York, we moved to California from the city, from New York City, long time ago, 1978. And but that was when the real journey of learning what was possible as a human began.
I love that.
And it was only about 2 years after that that I met the man who later, 10 years after, would found HeartMath. So back in 1980, I met Doc Childrey, the founder of HeartMath. It was 10 years before he actually founded HeartMath, but I had known him ahead of time. And so when he was starting that, we already had a connection. He asked me to be involved, as part of the team. So there was much more story than that, but that's, I think, enough that the seeds were in me from how I was raised by very warm-hearted, humanistic, pacifist parents who were all about love, all about care, but had their day jobs. You wouldn't have known. My mother was a high school home economics teacher.
Yeah.
My dad worked for an insurance company. Kind of straight jobs, but they were very much about love and humanity in the world, and so that's what I was raised.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's really what I think I'm supposed to be doing here.
So I've always been curious. I know as a female that I love to tap into my heart. Like I feel before I execute. Right? I feel and then I process and then I execute. That's kind of like how I function. But oftentimes I wonder, is there a benefit to tapping into your heart more and then the brain, or is it more beneficial to process things from your brain and then get a feeling from your heart? Or what are your take on how do you align the heart and the brain, and what are those benefits? For our audience as like, well, why would I want to do that? Or like,
well, so there's two parts to that question, at least. You ask such
yeah.
small questions that I could have just said yes. Does that answer that one?
No.
Sorry.
If I have to rephrase, I will.
Well, on purely the physiological level, so this idea of heart coherence and impacting the brain, this is a big deal. So the heart is sending all this information to the brain, information on what's happening in your respiration, in your blood, energies that are coming to you from outside your body, because we're in environments of stuff coming to us. So the heart's sending all this information. So as I was saying earlier, when the heart is in this coherent pattern, that coherence is being sent to the brain. When we're not coherent, meaning we're upset, we're pissed off, we're frustrated, we're whatever we're doing, that is being sent to the brain. It's been proven even before HeartMath, and when the heart is in this beautiful smooth pattern, i.e. you're at peace, you're being grateful, you're loving, you're having joy, the rhythms are going up to the brain, and the brain is like, thank you. Ah.
Right.
And literally the brain is a term called cortical facilitation, meaning the cortex, which represents about 80% of the brain, can work together better because it's receiving energy from the heart, which is harmonious energy. Makes sense to me. So
Makes sense
harmonic energy from yourself to your brain helps you. So
to do things.
I bring it back to a simple example. A lot of people have creative ideas in the shower. Why would the shower? Of all the rooms in the house.
Yeah.
Well, you're feeling good. Wow, that feels good.
Right.
I need where do I write something down? Because you're in balance.
Yes.
So the brain is more relaxed.
I see.
And so you can spontaneously even just kind of access a thought you wouldn't have even necessarily remembered to think of. So that's kind of a layperson's example of coherence. You're feeling good. Emotionally, you're feeling good. There's going to be no interruption for the next 5 minutes, most likely. Maybe 10 or 15, depending on the length of your shower. So you're in this stable flow kind of state.
Yeah.
Easier to remember things, easier to have clear thoughts, easier to be silly, sing a song. Huh, interesting. Do we need to take some more showers? Is that the message? Maybe.
Probably.
But getting in that state, of course, is the point. So that all got proven in multiple studies decades ago that if you're in a more positive state, the brain benefits. So that's well established. I mean, look at longevity and things that enhance brain function.
Yes.
People who are more positive have better brain function. Better memory happens as a result of more positive emotions. So the counterintuitive of all this is the more we're in positive emotions, the more the brain benefits. It's counterintuitive. You think, oh, don't you have to work harder to get the brain into the right mode? No, actually you have to feel better.
You got
Now you're creating an
work
environment.
less, right?
An environment. There's biochemistry going on in here. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
There's a lot of biochemistry going on. So when you're feeling good and feeling somewhat at peace or happy, there's a different biochemistry inside of you, different hormones and neurochemicals being produced that make it easier for the brain to do what it's designed to do. So that's kind of the simple view of kind of physically why it makes more sense to try to get your heart in tune, because the brain really will benefit, and countless studies now that are validating that. It's not like maybe that's true. No, it's very well established. But on the level of just being human, you know, when you asked about do you start with the brain or start with the heart, I don't even think about it that way anymore. But I've got a bit of a head start on you. I've been doing this for 30-some years.
Just a few years.
You don't have to wait for that many years. But I guess my point is that I'm very conscious that I need to be very aware of what I am feeling. I don't think about is that my heart or is that my head. I don't care where it's coming from, but I want to really be paying attention to what I'm feeling, because the feeling is information. That feeling of, yes, this is feeling right. Okay, go for that.
Right.
If it's feeling wrong, well then find out why is it feeling wrong. Or is it feeling like you're getting kind of a no in your system? Go a little deeper, maybe analyze that, whatever you need to do. But to me, it is essential for us to understand where our feelings are raw, our information, allowing us to make better decisions. If we try to make decisions only up here, or even process, I mean, when you talk about processing information up here, again, I don't think that way. It's not like that's a bad way to think. I just don't think that way so much. So I tend to just view it that I want to have a clear mind. I know for the work I do a lot of teaching, coaching, mentoring, etc., strategic advising. I need to have a clear mind. This is not just me standing somewhere and radiate love and everything will be fine.
Why not?
I will do that quietly and unobtrusively, looking normal.
But the point is like you want to have a clear mind.
Yeah. So I'm
You're
all about
working
having
on-
a clear mind.
Yeah.
And I do all kinds of things, whether it's exercise, dance, MCT oil in my coffee to enhance brain function. I do all kinds of things. But I also know that if I'm not paying attention to what my feelings are saying and what my heart's really feeling, then the brain's only getting part of the information. So again, I don't so much think about which place to start. Kind of like, well, I'm where I am now. Kind of what can I perceive? And I've been through enough stuff in my life, and again, I've got enough years under my belt. And you've alluded to, you know, I got pretty sick about 15, 16 years ago. Cancer diagnosis, had to have surgery, big tumor. Luckily, they got it out. I'm coming up on 16 years cancer-free, so it's a happy ending to a story. But it was a hairy couple of years, because it not only was the cancer, but then the treatments that they wanted me to do afterwards. Something happened, and I started getting staph infections, and then the staph got in my blood. That's life-threatening. That's go to the hospital now. You could stroke and die. Obviously, I didn't. I'm 15 years, coming on 15 years staph infection free. But then had some other stuff I had to deal with. My mother passed away, my marriage was ending, and I needed to have both hips replaced. Other than that, it was a really cool, kind of chill couple years. You know, no big deal, nothing major happened. People would say to me, "Did you do like an inverted bucket list? Like, can I get all the bad shit out of the way?
Out of the way so I can enjoy the rest of my life.
Smooth sailing.
I tried to get as many old age diseases out of the way when I was still young and could handle them.
They say MCT oil every day will prevent all old age diseases.
I'm going for that.
That's what they say. Anyway,
So
don't quote me on that.
So I think for me, the journey is ever more and bringing up the health stuff's not just because I went through all that health stuff. That was many dark nights of the soul in there.
Right.
That was reviewing every aspect of my life once I realized I would survive.
Yeah.
And that was a bit up in the air there for a while. There was a couple life-threatening things going on. I can laugh about it now, but it was kind of dark at times. But once I realized I would survive, then it became like, well, what's life telling me? What's my heart telling me? Do I just keep kind of go back to everything as it was, or is all this because something new is supposed to emerge? And I finally realized something new is supposed to emerge. And it meant actually stepping down as CEO of HeartMath, and our marriage ended also. And it was a very challenging time, but it was also a period where I realized I have to pay attention to what I'm feeling. There was a lot of grief going on. Yes, my mother had passed, but the marriage of 25 years, stepping down as CEO of an organization I helped to build 20 years earlier, there was grief around that.
Right.
So I had to be willing to be in that, experience that, and not try to rush back to, I'm fine, I got a whole new life, yay! But to honor that there was some heavy stuff that was going on. So that was a big part of the journey for me, was the honoring of the dark stuff. Not to wallow in it, not to get stuck in it, but to just acknowledge this is going on. Because if I'm honest about it, this also will help me interact with anyone else.
I love it.
Who is also dealing with anything that's of a suffering nature. I can be more compassionate if I have accepted what I'm feeling in myself.
Yeah.
And that was important, very important for me.
Where did you go? So you stepped down as CEO. Like, your life is sort of like saying, like, we have to redirect. You're going to redirect. If you listen, you pay attention. You did. What was the first outcome of that? Because I think there's a lot of fear around. It takes a lot of courage to do that, to transform, even when you have things going well.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm going to like put it behind me and do this. You know, it's like a lot of people, they can't. Right? They get stuck in a job or a marriage or a situation forever, and that's because they can't get past that. So what did you do? What was the first thing that you did? I don't know, how can we inspire more people to just do it?
Well, this is going to sound kind of like I'm being cheeky again, or tongue-in-cheek, but the first thing I did after I stepped down, I had to have my other hip replaced.
Okay.
I just had the first one done. So I was still in the middle of heavy surgery and heavy rehab. So, like, my main focus, to be honest, was I got to take care of myself right now. I have to relearn how to walk, because both hips were getting replaced. And I wasn't sure. I really did not have, here's my plan, here's what I'm doing when I've stepped down. And I had a vague sense that, and there were little elements of, I'm going to start singing again, maybe in my car. Not to anybody else, but so I started singing in my car, but that was not aspiring to ever be on stage again. But little by little, I just allowed it to kind of unfold. I was really trying to be kind of patient with, my mother had just passed away as well, and so there was a lot going on that I needed to kind of take my time and not rush anything. And so it was a while before I had any clarity, and it was a few months, and then the spark to sing got very strong as a result of singing Christmas carols at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. That's a whole nother story. But that triggered a very deep desire to sing again in the public, having not sung for close to 15 years at that point. And once that was clear, like, dude, you're supposed to be doing this. There have been enough times in my life where something's very clear, like, you don't need to ask the question, just go for this. You're supposed to sing again. Okay, I'll sing.
Yeah.
And what that unfolded was discovering I could actually dance again as well. That unfolded a whole source of creativity in me, which a musical, artistic type of creativity that had been dormant for quite a few years. And once that was reawakened, it's like, wow, this feels good. I have to rehearse. I have to, instead of having a regular meeting, I have to rehearse for the talk that's going to have a song. And it was like, I was feeling like I'm a creative being again. Where have I been? Where did that guy go? And so just experiencing that was like, I'm just follow this. And there was enough of me that felt like I know how to surrender. Just go with it. Just go. Just it is you know how to trust your heart. And a lot of people don't trust their heart, so the idea of surrender is like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Right.
It's terrifying.
That's the
But wait a minute, if you're being guided by the center of you,
It's not.
it's not. Doesn't.
Terror
It's
is
still.
fear.
It's still scary. It can still be scary because you never know what's going to happen, so you don't know what you're going to have to deal with. But if it's really coming from your heart, and if you can find your heart in that process,
Would you say that
It's easier.
it's also becomes exciting?
totally. Because I think things that really resonate in our heart,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean there's no edginess to it. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean there's not get on stage. I mean, this process unfolded into my first performance in 15 years being in front of 500 frontline healthcare professionals, doctors and nurses of the Kaiser Health System in the Bay Area. That was my coming out party. What? I haven't been on stage in 15 years, and I'm singing in front of 500 doctors and nurses?
Your heart was saying, go for it.
It was
Do
totally
it.
saying,
You're
go
not
for
going
it.
to be, you're not
So
going
there
to
was-
die. You're not going to be hurt.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there was definitely, I was like, oh man, I haven't sung at all. In fact, when we got the gig, my partner Gary Malkin and I got this gig, I said, Gary, I have got to do a public dress rehearsal. I've got to sing in front of like 50 people or more. I've got to get that out of my system.
Yeah.
So the first time I'm doing this in 15 years is not in front of 500 people. You give me some training wheels
Yeah.
here. And I was so glad we did that because
With
that
50 people? Where the heck did you find 50 people?
he lived in a big house. It was more like 60 people let this like run through in the
Yeah.
giant kind of living dining area,
Yeah.
and we got all these people crammed in. Everything that could have gone wrong did, but I got it out of my system, and the computer crashed twice. Glasses were breaking on the floor. I mean, it was kind of chaotic. The client was there. I made
And
sure
they're
that.
like, you guys are amazing.
Well, everything went wrong, and I was like nervous that she'd say, sorry, we're going to have to back out. This is not going to happen. And she came up to me at the very end. She said, none of the problems you had tonight will happen. We're Kaiser.
I love it.
And she said, this is perfect. This
Yeah.
is perfect. You're not going to have to change a thing. Just do this. I said, that's all I needed to hear. If
That's
that's,
so great.
yeah.
That's so great.
I feel like I can just keep asking questions, but go ahead. I don't want to steal the question time.
Well, thank you for clarifying the feelings, because that's really what I have lived on for a long time, and I didn't understand it. I just went with it, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when I feel good, I'm able to do a lot more, and that's
Exactly.
all I focused on. For a long time, I always thought, like, am I just passive? Am I just like addicted to the good feelings, or am I? But it sounds like if you're listening to your heart and you're doing all the things that your heart is really happy about, then all of that signals get sent into your brain, and then you then end up doing all the happy things for everybody that's around you. That's why I feel like it's really important that we tap into that.
Well, absolutely, and I feel like I should say that the fact that you're following the heart does not mean it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's necessarily going
Yes.
to feel happy. Some of what your heart's telling you to do is hard.
It is.
It's like the heart knows for your next level of growth to be
Right.
able to not. Like I had to go through
Right.
everything going wrong in that room.
Right.
In order to
Then be comfortable
Right.
in front of 500 people with 3
Right.
cameras. We had hired a whole crew, and we were doing a whole production as well. So to be comfortable with that, I had to go through a little bit of So the heart is going to help you grow, which
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to be smooth and happy and all roses and bunnies and kitty cats. It's going to be some rough moments, because how do you grow without rough moments?
Right.
All the growth that I went through, going through those different diagnoses, and then trying to keep my system at balance, waiting for the results of a procedure or a surgery or whatever. I mean, there was a lot of
Yep.
emotional growth I went through as a result of that,
Yeah.
and continue to need to grow through and go through. So, but the heart can give you the signal of knowing. And then you got to surrender tonight. It's that just because my heart said yes doesn't mean it's necessarily just completely smooth ride,
That's
just
important.
gliding on into the
Yeah.
future.
That's really
I think we
important.
should, yes, I would love to
really
talk
important.
more about that, because yes, there have been a lot of moments like, I don't know if I can do that. There's a lot of, self-doubt, right?
Yeah.
Fear, anxiety that comes with that. But for
Exactly.
some reason, I mean, I can only speak for myself, right? Like I just know, like that's the next step. If I can just overcome and talk myself into doing it, I've expressed this a lot with a lot of the guests that we've had on. You know, we talk ourselves out of it, but how about just talking ourselves into it? Like how do we find courage? Let's say we're at the crossroad, where heart's going, go for it, sing in front of 500 people, and you're like,
no,
no, your head going, don't do that.
Yeah.
Bruce is scary. Don't do it.
Great question. How do you find courage?
Well, one of the things for me with my particular journey, since I did have a couple of life-threatening diagnoses there, is that I will always remember that I have gotten through not one but two life-threatening conditions. So when I get super pissed off about somebody's vibe in an email, my higher self says, dude,
Really?
are you seriously getting this out of shape?
Right.
And you kind of casually, not casually, but
Right.
you've dealt with two life-threatening, and all the other things that were going on in your life that were at least as hard. I mean, the stepping down as CEO was a huge
Yeah, of
decision. That
course.
was possibly the hardest of all of it,
course.
worse than the diagnoses. So I have to kind of remind myself, you have overcome so much more difficult things than this. So that is, I think all of us have something like that in our life,
Yeah.
where we have proven at some point in our life we could do something we didn't think that we could have done.
Absolutely.
Something happened, and it ended up better than we were dreading something, and it didn't go. Sure enough, it didn't go that way. We most of us have something that has
Yeah.
happened, so we have a reference point we can go back to. If we don't, then that's different. But for me, there is. So and so that's kind of a marker, I guess, in my system, is like because there's certain things that it's easier for me to find that vibe
Yeah.
of I know I can do this.
Yeah.
And other things where I have more of a blind spot.
Mm.
So that's when I have to transfer. In other words, my body has done so well since all of that stuff. I mean, we were joking about that earlier. People think I'm way younger than I really am. It's
Yeah.
doing things I never imagined I would do at my age. I mean, and so I have a high level of confidence, even if I was like in bed for months, that I would be able to get back up before too long. I'd get back in shape before too long, even at my advanced age, over 70, and be dancing again. I have that confidence now because I've done it enough times over the
Yeah.
last 15 years. I don't have that same confidence in everything.
Yeah.
So on the areas that are harder, I have to quicker catch the self-doubt that comes in. Like with the physical stuff, I manifested a house where I have to walk up about 65 stairs every day. That's gotten my quads in really good shape.
Congratulations.
and
on
my
your
cardio. I have no choice.
Right.
When I get home tonight, I'll be walking up 65 stairs.
And dancing for an hour and a half today.
Yeah, and an
Come
hour and a half
on.
again tomorrow. So
Yeah.
Not drinking water. I mean, we can go on.
I do like going back to one thing that resonated very. That it ties into breathing the life, like breathe, it's a breath and breathing, but it's the search for calm. And I spoke about the more I can be calm and like resonate and like create a very smooth sine wave in my heart, the easier it is. My brain is just going to expand. My body's going to feel better. It's when that breaks and I'm not calm, that's when things start going haywire. Can you talk a little bit about like what you told us earlier about 1,400 chemicals? And I think that's really interesting. But it's true. It's like we've studied it. This is real. We're not making this up. It's like the body, everybody's body, where there's chemicals, and those chemicals can wreak havoc if they're released over and over again. So I don't know if you want to.
yeah, sure. Well, it's a kind of a great stat. It's been around for 30 plus years now, and the idea is that a study back in the early 90s showed that the moment we get triggered by anything, it could be an alert on your phone, it could be a comment somebody makes in a meeting, anything. It can be just a thought, oh my God, I forgot to do anything. That moment of feeling triggered is biochemical as well as emotional. So you feel the emotion, but right in that same moment is biochemistry, because when we think there's a threat for any reason, our body is designed from millions of years of evolution to gear up to do one of several things, but the famous ones are either fight or flee, fight or flight. So your body gears up and surges all these biochemicals into you. Cortisol is a famous one, a stress hormone. Adrenaline, the famous one. Yeah. You know, the powerful energy. But there's 1,398 cousins, basically. So roughly 1,400 are all being prepared because you may need to run out of the building. You may need to kill that thing.
Right.
Now, if the thing is an alert on your phone, you're not going to be able to kill it.
Right. But your body reacts the same.
Right.
Your body's reacting the same because you're
Right.
feeling threat. And today, with the number of kind of existential threats going on, let alone just the general noise of life,
Alerts and,
we're on more alert
Right.
than ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't have data to prove that, but I think most people would say, yes, that's definitely true. There's just more things going on. We're more invaded than ever. So we've got to be able to get out of that vibe. And so the calm is a good word to describe it, but I think the visual also of like those biochemicals, the 1,400 that get produced because we are sensing threat, that's noise in your system. If you had to actually fight a real threat, a tiger was about to jump on you, a building is on fire, then those biochemicals are what you need to fight or flee.
Right.
That saves your life, thank God. We don't have any way to spend those biochemicals. We just go back to scrolling.
So they store
Or whatever.
this in your body, and now.
And they don't just dissipate when the threat's gone. Many of them stick around for hours in case you have another threat. And so sure enough, an hour later, something else triggers you. And 15 minutes later, something else triggers you. So we're constantly reproducing. And then we can't sleep quite right at night. We can't fall asleep, or we wake at 2 a.m. thinking about that stuff. Well, part of it's biochemical because our body was getting into this state thinking it was, that we're under threat. So if you think of the stressful emotions, the 1,400 biochemicals as noise, like a lot of white noise going on in your body, but that frequency of the smooth wave that happens when we're in a beautiful state, when we're feeling gratitude. I mean, the sun is kind of hitting me in the face right now. It feels fantastic, actually. that beautiful feeling puts my heart into a much smoother state. That's like not noise. So like to me, that state of the gratitude, appreciation, basking, whatever, it's like a hum. It's like a hum in our body. Whereas the other is more like literally. I mean, biochemically, that's what's going on. Electrically, that's what's going on. So we have to get out of that state. But we're also wired from so much digital time and so much noise. We have to really kind of go deeper and really let go of stuff that's otherwise building up. And that's not as hard as it sounds.
So show us how you're doing. I know you're doing like a 7-week workshop. We were speaking a little bit. I think it'd be great to like walk us through a way to access that. It could be, this is like the first time we've done this on this podcast, but I think it'd be great to share that with people or share a technique. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes or I don't know. It can just be like quick, but I think it's really important that people start to realize, like, if we can change what's happening in our body very quickly, we can. I remember you said the other day on a phone call, you were like, just letting it go. I was like, oh yeah, you just let like your body, you just let things go. But I don't know if that's stuck with me because that was really easy to just like, oh yeah, right, I can do that. In my day.
That's the one I will share for sure. So the concept here is that we all know the expression sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Like something goes your way. Oh, thank God. Sports. Think of athletes. And any athlete that's about to do something, a pitcher about to throw, a batter about to hit, a swimmer about to dive in the water, a gymnast about to do the routine, a track star about to get ready to have the gun go off and start the race. Nearly all of those things, if you think about any of those athletes, at some point you're going to see them go, they're going to do that. They know that, or they've been taught to do that. Let it out so you can perform at a high level. It turns out, designed into our physiology is this mechanism known as a sigh of relief, which is our body's awareness to kind of, hello, you need to let go of something right now.
Yeah.
And so that response, when we get good news or when it doesn't go bad like we were afraid, that's our body saying, let it go. And a sigh of relief is an actual mechanism our body knows to do every 5 or 10 minutes. We don't stop long enough to notice a lot of times. Once you hear this, you'll think, yeah, oh yeah, that feels good. Why am I not doing that every hour
Right.
or every 10 minutes or whatever?
Right.
Like, what's the downside of that?
Yeah.
None. There's none. So I came up with this idea of a wave of relief,
Yeah.
and I'll spare you the whole story, but it came about standing on the beach, and there was a hurricane to the south. My body was dealing with a lot of waves of pain and agony. I had kidney stones and a UTI, so I'm being all upfront about it. And so there was a lot of energy going on, and I knew about this sigh of relief concept, and I practiced this, and I found a lot of benefit. Like, wow, when you can really just let go of what we're hanging on to. I'm pointing to my belly, because a lot of us hang on to worry there, or anxiety there, or fear there. It could be in the shoulders. It could be like you're tensing up like that. But for wherever it is, doesn't matter. But with this idea of the wave of relief, as I call it, the idea is to breathe in a nice deep breath as though you were standing on the beach. So that feeling when, like, you've been wanting to go to the beach for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you finally get to the beach, we made it. That feeling. So you're breathing in a nice deep breath as though you're breathing in the wave, the energy of the wave. And then once you kind of get a nice full breath, bigger than normal breath, then you just let it go out to sea. So whatever you're hanging on to, anxiety, fear, exhaustion, whatever, overwhelm,
Just release.
as you let it go, you just try to let it go. You're not pushing it out.
Yeah.
That's got value too, but that's not this. This is just let go,
right.
let go, let.
Can we try it?
I love that. And yeah,
No,
that's
I'm not going to let you try it.
Is it a patent?
a trademark.
Is it a trademark?
Yes. I will have to kill you right after we do
Don't
this.
kill
but-
us, Bruce.
Please.
No, you
we
won't.
have more
More to do.
podcasts to do.
One more podcast. Okay.
Got more.
Yeah, so the idea, I mean, I like to have people do it with their eyes closed, just because then you're focused on the internal process, especially to learn it. So the idea, if you have your eyes closed, is to take a
Let's
deep
try
breath.
it, everybody.
Yeah. To take a deep breath, imagining you're bringing that fresh air of a wave in through your heart. Nice and deep breath, deeper than normal. And then once you reach the top, just let it go. It's like you're dropping it like a box of rocks, just letting it go. You're not forcing it down or riding it. Do that again. Just breathe in through the heart. Nice fresh, deep breath. And then whatever energy you're holding on to, just let it go. Imagine it's going out to the sea. And remember, waves come in from the sea to us, but the equal waves go out from us. And how we know that's true? If that wasn't true, we'd all be underwater. So the waves are equal. So
Right.
breathe in a nice, deep, fresh wave of energy as you breathe in through your heart. And now as you just let it go and let the wave pull out of you whatever feelings you don't want in there anymore. You're tired of them. And just keep doing that. And each time you release, it's just truly letting go. Just let go. Sometimes if I feel myself kind of caught up from a day or a conflict, I'll talk to myself silently like I'm the older brother talking to the, just let go, bro. Just just let go. Just let go. Being friendly, being warm-hearted to myself that's hanging on from fear or whatever. So just do that a few more times. Breathe in through your heart. And now just let go and imagine that energy leaving with the wave. And then the next wave comes in, breathe in through your heart. Just let it go, nice and smooth. Just do it 3 more times on your own. It's like one continuous breath. You're not holding at any point. Okay, and as you're ready, go ahead and flicker your eyes open. And just know you can do that with your eyes wide open. You don't have to close your eyes, not at all. I do it in meetings sometimes, casually. You don't go, kind of distracting in a meeting.
How much do you have to release?
This is in line with breath.
And sometimes you'll notice kind of like you're on your butt going downstairs, boom, boom, because it's still, you're hanging on.
Yeah,
hanging on.
I've noticed that. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I could do that a bit more, but I'm shocked how much I'm holding right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just like an observation. It could be from, driving too much, sitting, whatever, but it's just an observation, and to be like gentle about that. There's no perfect place. We all hold stress, we all hold tension,
Yeah.
It's like,
And it's energy that we are spending to
Yeah,
hold it,
that's
and
so
that's
interesting.
what we don't realize.
Right.
We don't consciously think I'm spending energy to hold that
Right.
that anxiety there, but
Right.
it's true because when you let it go, it's like, oh man, I feel so much better.
So
wow,
much
what
lighter.
a relief.
Yeah.
So much lighter, yeah.
Well, we love talking to you.
Yeah.
We can talk to you for hours.
make sure you hit subscribe. We were supposed to say that a long time ago. As you can see, we're like learning as we go. But we want to make sure that we can connect people to where they can find you and, buy your products or like support what you're doing or access some of your tools that you've made available. And yeah, so cool, Bruce. That was so great to talk to you.
Awesome.
This is the Breathing Life podcast. Donna Martin, that's Donna Martin. Bruce Cryer, me, Luis Guerra. Thank you so much for being a guest or whatever, tuning in, and Bruce being a guest, and we'll see you next time.